Hey everyone, welcome to Future Proof. I'm Kevin Rose, co-founder and CEO of Proof.
And I'm Justin Mazzell, co-founder and chief product officer at Proof.
You almost forgot where you worked there for a second.
I did it for dramatic effect, but yes, I'm really, really happy to be here. My God, what a fun time this is going to be.
It's been quite the road to get here with all of the work that we put into this. A lot to discuss today, a lot of exciting announcements. It's going to be fun.
This is a great time for us to sort of level set and kind of share with the community where we're at, what we're working on, say hey. It's just a really cool thing to be able to do, and I'm really happy to be here.
We were hoping, and this is the truth today, we're actually all in Los Angeles, but we're not in the same place. We were hoping to be all in the same place, but then I did something stupid, like went and got COVID for my kids. So I'm down for the count. I'm on all the drugs and the things to get back to health. So we're doing it remote today, but I'm actually feeling much better. So I'm excited that we were able to still pull it off.
We're all together alone, which I think is a really important and beautiful part of it all.
Yes. All right. Well, let's jump in. But before we do, let's go back and just reflect on the last few months. I think it's good to always, just bring people up to speed on what we've been building over the last, 6 or so months now.
It's wild when you put it like that, because it's true. The last time we did this presentation was in March. That was the original Future Proof, and that was less than 6 months ago. And now it feels like a lifetime that we've all kind of been doing this. It's an exciting thing, but it really is just kind of the blink of an eye how fast everything has changed. The Proof Collective was thriving back then, as it is now, which is an awesome thing. We had a media arm of Proof, which was the podcast. And a lot of you started with the Proof podcast. That's maybe where you heard about Proof, or maybe you'd followed Kevin Rose's work for a bit. But that was really the extent of the entire ecosystem. Grails 1, I believe it had launched, but we hadn't yet revealed the artist quite yet, right? Okay.
That's right.
And the team was just 4 people at the time, and 2 of us part-time. So it was a totally different world at the time, and that was less than 6 months ago.
Yeah. So in less than 6 months, Moonbirds has launched. Oddities launched, which is, of course, our design collaboration we did with Gremplin. We hosted just some epic events out at NFT NYC. Tame Impala played. We had Mixmaster Mike. One of my favorite moments for sure was David Blaine, because I'm a huge Magic nerd, and that was just awesome to have him there. And especially doing that little side thing that we did for all of our nested Moonbirds that had the witches or wizard hats as well. That was a lot of fun. And then we did a ton of the Parliament community events. I think we hit probably 3 of those in a single night.
There was a single regrettable night of hitting 3 events. Not regrettable because the parties, they were amazing, but just based to my liver and the damage done to my bodily form. My corporeal form took a real hit that night, but it was amazing.
We did some hot wings competition. It was just a real testament to like the quality events that people are throwing on our behalf, which of course we love.
And the quality of people.
Yeah, fantastic folks. And we'll get into some more meetups we're going to be doing here shortly. Also, though, we expanded our media offering. So we added 100 Proof as a new podcast with Derek, which has been awesome. And then our weekly Parliament sessions and our town hall Q&As have been great. On the data side, we have a full-time Proof analyst, and we've also launched 2 Proof deep dive reports, and we've hired a director of research, which is really going to help beef up those efforts, and he's just getting ramped up. We've also brought you countless opportunities to mint new projects, including Elemental, Quantum Keys, Chimpers, Memeland, and Ryan Bell's Dreamcatcher Forest on Tez. We have a new Proof Collective book club called Proofread. Are you doing the Proofread this month, Justin?
I am indeed. The
$12 million shark.
I'm loving it. It's kind of blowing my mind, but I'm having a great time.
Yeah, it's really good. We finished that one up here in just a few days. And last but not least, obviously we have to mention that we just wrapped up Grails 2, which had some fantastic artists participating. William Apon was awesome. Cole D and of course Snowfro were a few of my favorites there. And to accomplish this, we've grown the team now to 30 people with a real focus on engineering and design.
But this really does just kind of feel like the beginning. We're really just ramping up a lot of this stuff. We really do know, when we talked in the first version of Future Proof, we talked about wanting to launch big, to go real big, to, launch a collection and be one of those top 3 collections. And we know that when it comes to being a leader in this space, like we have to build a global company, connecting with our communities that are all across the world. And I know we've had some requests for that, especially when we did NFT NYC and some other meetups. So today, really, really excited to announce our International Proof European Tour. So we're going to be going to Lisbon, Paris, Berlin, and London for Freeze. And these are going to be kind of fun, casual meetups, not massive events like in the NFT NYC kind of party style. Really, it'll have its own kind of flair and its own flavor to it. So stay tuned to the Discord for more details on what's going on there. I'd say, just as a kind of tip of the hat here, a little less party and a little more meeting other people, getting to know them, a little more space for banter. That
a little
was one of the
party.
requests.
Yeah, a little bit of party.
Always a little bit of party. Kevin's actually got a very small mullet right there in the back. It's just the rat tail. It went down to the
I've
rat
had
tail.
a mullet. It's cut now, but I did have a small little party in the back.
I meant you had a spiritual mullet. I would say it's definitely going to be a really fun time. And that's some of the feedback that we had got even from folks, NFT NYC, is just creating space for people to meet, to be able to connect. There's only so many times people have the chance to meet up. And so for us, that felt really cool to curate some of those experiences. So we are looking forward to getting out here, meeting some of our international community. And that's going to be a trend that we're going to, keep pushing into even as we go into next year.
Yeah.
And if you are US based, do not worry. We are still going to be seeing plenty of you. We're actually doing a San Francisco Proof Collective event in September. So that's pretty soon. About a month away. And hopefully we're going to see many of you tonight in Venice Beach, which will be great here in Los Angeles, California. So hopefully you haven't gotten too much of us, but if that wasn't quite enough yet, we are also deep into planning on a little event we're calling Proof of Conference, which will actually be quite a big event. So you may have some questions. What is Proof of Conference? What's it going to be? What's it all about? Well, for us, it is a multi-day celebration of every aspect of Web3. The event is really everything you'd expect from Proof and Moonbirds, and maybe some things you didn't. Like, we're going to have some art exhibitions, some in real life mint experiences, talks from leading figures in the space. I think when it comes to Proof, and I think you can kind of see this as evident in Kevin's podcast, you think about the Proof podcast, one of the angles that we really care deeply about is curating great experiences with the kind of people that you want to hear from. And so when it comes to planning a conference for us, we really do want to focus on curating a lineup that you're excited about every speaker there, that we can really work to ensure that it's going to be an awesome experience, not just for the people you get to see on the stage, but also for everybody else who's attending. So that is something we're deeply passionate about. And we know this is going to be an amazing activation for the entire community. Also, equally as important will be interest-based social events that are designed to facilitate those connections between our community members. So there's going to be a lot of thought put into what the experience are going to be like even outside of the talks while you're there. And of course, as Kevin mentioned before, he does still have the rat tail. So it is still going to be a party and a celebration of all things Web3. So as Proof Collective members, you, if you're in the Proof Collective, are going to get a VIP pass for free. And if you're a Moonbird or an Oddity holder, you're going to have a discounted pass and you will have first access when those tickets go live. So don't worry, you're going to have plenty of notice for exactly when it's going to happen. We are currently aiming for, I believe it's mid 2023 at the moment. Right. But we'll be sending out some save the dates and some more details in the next month, which is pretty exciting. We did some awesome site tours just this past month, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So very much looking forward to these events. I think Europe, we've been talking about for a long time, wanting to get over there, but we haven't forgot about everyone in Asia. So that is another trip that we have planned. And then also Australia as well. That's, I believe we haven't made any announcements around those dates, but those are all places that we're considering here in the coming months. So we're going to be everywhere this coming year.
I just couldn't be more thrilled to, get out from behind the desk, get in front of some folks and really meet, and also have other people meet one another, because this is a tremendous and powerful community. And I'm excited to have you all look around and see who's a part of it as well.
Absolutely. Okay, so you ready to get into some new announcements?
Love it. Let's do it.
So today is all about sharing our vision to dominate 3 categories. First, we want to continue to reimagine and expand what it means to be the best possible place for artist collaborations, insights, editorial, and unique drops for our 1,000 member Proof Collective. Second, obviously, Moonbirds and Oddities, so core and key to what we do. Today, we'll be covering the CC0 plan, a new nesting reward, and some pretty exciting deflationary mechanics as applied to Oddities. Moonbirds, in our mind, it's honestly just getting started. Our goal here is to create a top 3 PFP, really with a cultural impact that extends far beyond our ecosystem. And lastly, the project we've codenamed Highrise. As you'll soon see, this is the Proof technology platform that connects users, enables community decision-making, showcases collections, and provides insights. It's our hub that connects all that we do. So to kick things off, let's start with the Proof Collective. Our mission with the collective has always been twofold. One, how do we make sense of the noise? There are so many NFTs being published every single day. How can we bring clarity, insights, and a point of view to the NFT world? And two, how can we unlock exclusive access to this community of collectors? When we think about clarity, insights, and point of view, the value comes back in a handful of ways, but I would say first and foremost is early podcast access. Our podcast, as you know, it falls into one of 3 camps. It can be an artist interview, project interviews, and then, of course, our variety roundtable show with industry experts that we call 100 Proof. But outside of podcasts, we are actively building out a team to support the collective with data and editorial-driven insights. To explain further, I'm excited to bring on Sam, aka NFT Statistics, who is our new Director of Research, to share his plan.
Hey, everybody. This is Sam. I am NFT Stats on Twitter. To be honest, 99% of my time, most of the days, I am at my house or at my office looking at NFT prices, doing analytical work. That's kind of what I spend my time doing. But this week, a trip I've had in the books with my family for a long time, I'm in Tahoe. So I figured I would embrace it and come to you live from here. Just a quick overview, like what's the headline? What are we trying to do with research? There are 3 main goals that really guide what we want to do. The first is to provide the Proof community with insightful, data-driven, actionable analytics about NFTs. The second is to build the dialogue around NFTs within the collective. And the third is to establish Proof to the entire NFT ecosystem as a go-to place for institutional level research on the NFT space. You know, there are a lot of great analytical platforms out there, and there are a lot of people who really understand the NFT marketplace really, really well. And we wanted to combine both with insights that are really data-driven and backed by the numbers and analytics. First thing that we're going to do is continue to bring the product that we've been bringing, which is the deep dives from Dalton. He's put out 2, one on music NFTs, one on Solana NFTs. There's another one coming next week, and there's just going to be more and more that's going to be coming on a monthly basis. The goal with those, we want you in 1 year to look back and say, wow, those deep dives got ahead of trends that really turned out to be interesting. It's getting ahead of things that are happening in the marketplace and that we think haven't totally caught on, but are going to be big over time. That's the goal with those deep dives. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we're going to have a daily piece that we put out starting next week. It's going to go out every weekday, and that's going to tell you what happened over the past 24 hours, perhaps a chart of the day, like what's some sort of trend that we think is developing or interesting. That's going to start coming next week. We're really excited about that. Not just to get more content out, but also to increase dialogue and be available there to talk about the things we put out. And then the third piece is somewhere in between, more on a weekly cadence, whatever themes that we think we really want to do a little digging on, put it out there, get that content going without kind of the length that a deep dive needs. Those will come out weekly or around that cadence. So that's the 3 types, the daily, the weekly, the monthly. Those are the main types of kind of reports we want to put out. Definitely look forward to being in the Discord a lot more. For doing voice conversations or just chatting about the stuff that we put out or whatever is interesting to you. We'll definitely, evolve as we go. And a huge piece of this is we have a team that can do analytical work and that can dig for you. So if there are themes that you think are interesting that you want us to write about, let us know. And we'll definitely allow that to guide kind of the roadmap as far as the types of things that we put out. So that's a quick overview. Really want this to be best in class when it comes to creating an understanding of what's going on in this marketplace, both for investors as well as creators. Look forward to doing it with you and to getting to know so many of you guys, in the Discord or wherever it may be. Thanks.
Thanks, Sam. So thrilled that you're on the team to be leading up these efforts. Beyond all of our editorial and research efforts, though, another focus of the collective is involving artists in obviously all that we do, both in terms of exclusive collaboration drops, but also some of these novel reveal mechanics that we have, such as Grails. Here to explain more, I want to bring on our senior product manager responsible for Grails and for artist relationships, Eli. Eli, good to have you on stage, man.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So today I'm super excited to talk about our ongoing efforts to bring world-class artists to Proof. Now, when I think about our role in the space, it's really, to be a steward for creative expression. So we want to do that. And then we also want to really lean into being a launchpad for outstanding and diverse artists to share their work. Now, I think we've made some progress against that goal. And, we've seen that with the Heart You artist collaboration that we had in our first 2 seasons of Grails. But to be totally frank, I think we all agree that there's a lot more we can do here. So, today we're going to talk about a few of those things, and we're sort of calling these a series of curated products that are intended to really deliver on that commitment and on those goals I just talked about. So all these things I'm about to describe are sort of really, it's an expression of this deep focus we have on building products for artists and also connecting those artists directly with the Proof community. So let me talk about 4 of those now. So the first one, Grails. You guys know this one. And we've made a commitment to deliver this 3 times a year. This will be the same fun, surprises, and quality that you're used to, but there may be some new curatorial focuses, themes, and maybe even some fun new mechanics. Curation for season 3 is actually already underway, and we have some outstanding artists committed to participate in that upcoming season. Next up, let's talk about collaborations. Now, we've spoken about artist collaborations in the past. These have traditionally been relatively static drops of artwork. Our first one with Heart You, Emotes, was super fun. But moving forward, we really want to lean into finding ways to unlock creativity for the artists that we work with. And one way in which we want to do that is to lean in and make our smart contract expertise available to those artists who we collaborate with. We really want to push the boundaries, see what's possible. And we think in doing so, you can start to sort of imagine this world where we uncover new novel drop mechanics or maybe even generative projects that have never been seen before. So we'll be releasing the first name of that collaborator very soon, and I'm really excited to start to work on this project. Next up, part of Proof's core ethos has always been to empower others. Now, to that end, we're going to be working with the artists and curators in the Proof ecosystem to really thoughtfully introduce the collective, all of you, to the next wave of emerging artists. Now, to do this, we're excited today to announce a new product called Curated. This will invite top artists and curators, the names you know and recognize, to curate a limited release of their favorite emerging artists in partnership with Proof. Now, these releases could include reveal mechanics like Grails or brand new drop mechanisms that we've yet to announce. One of the wonderful things about this project in particular is that we're really going to empower the curators to help shape each of these releases. Today, I'm excited to announce that first season of Curated will be done in partnership with a Grails artist, and there will be more coming on that really soon. Now, the last product I want to announce today is called Genesis, and this is where we'll bring established traditional artists and creators into NFTs for the very first time. Okay, so to recap, today we're announcing 4 products. The first, Grails, which you guys know, that's going to be the fun and the surprises and the reveal mechanic you're used to. Second, collaborations, which is really an extension of the type of artist collaborations we've done in the past, but it's really going to explore what's possible and lean into our smart contract expertise. The third is this curated product, which is going to bring artists and curators into our ecosystem and let them help guide us and discover new emerging artists. And lastly, Genesis. This is where traditional artists will release their very first NFT with and for the Proof community. So in total, we're targeting just around 10 events per year. It's almost 1 per month. And we're laying the foundations to deliver against that cadence right now. You can expect us to hit our full stride on delivering against all of these products by early next year.
I love it. This is awesome, Eli. Thank you so much for putting this together. I mean, It really speaks to what we're doing today, which is refocusing our efforts on a lot of our core community, this one being obviously the Proof Collective, and also putting artists front and center, which we've always done with the collective, and just delivering more really unique pieces of artwork to this collector base, which is going to be a ton of fun. And also, by the way, huge congrats on Grails too.
Thanks,
you did such a great job curating everyone there and really pulling that off. I told you it was going to be tough.
You did say
we
that.
got that like last artist like the day of, or right of the day. We were about to mint and we were still missing one piece, but you pulled it off, man.
That's right. It's a great honor and super fun. I decided to continue to do this and do it a lot more often.
Yeah, very cool. All right, let's get into it, Justin. Let's talk Moonbirds.
Speak and I shall come a running. Moonbirds. Proof's official PFP. That's right. Now, to be honest, we had some high hopes and expectations for where we wanted to be. I think it was like a real name it and claim it moment for us of like, we want to be that top 3 collection. And to be honest, I don't know if I can imagine a more successful launch. It was a lot. It was incredible. Just a lot of energy and excitement and really a community coming together in an amazing way. I'm blown away by it. Even thinking about it, it gets me really excited. And that's why talking about it is so much fun. To date, just by the numbers, over 200,000 ETH in volume traded. And that is, mathematically, that's 350 million USD at today's price, which puts us ranked at number 8 in total all-time volume on OpenSea. All of this, mind you, in just a few months. It's really wild. But even more important than just the numbers there, I think one of the most staggering statistics to me is always seeing that about 95% of our current holders are nested right now, showing that we have a ton of holders that are committed for the long term of this project. And that to me is incredible. That's an amazing thing that's really special to that Moonbirds community. And I tell you what, we're going to talk about a lot today, and I think you're going to see that we are really, truly just getting started. Now, let's get started today by talking about some of those on-chain updates for the collection. I'd like to welcome Director of Product, Harry. Welcome to the stage.
Hi, Justin.
It's good to see you.
So I have got 2 updates for you all today on the Moonbird side of things. So the first one of these is we've talked about putting the birds on chain. So what I'm here to tell you today is that they're not just going to be on chain, they're going to be put in chain. Now, I know that for a lot of people, you're going to hear this and think, what on earth are you talking about? What is the difference between the two? Well, what I mean is that the bird images that you're going to see in OpenSea, that you're going to see in your wallets, in your galleries, they're going to be constructed from the contract itself, from art layers, which are going to be stored on the blockchain. Now, this is an unusual approach, certainly not unique though. So one example of a PFP that does this is On-Chain Monkey. And then there are generative art projects, which will take it a step further and kind of put the code which creates the art right into the contract as well. Now, at the moment, the market doesn't distinguish between the 2 approaches. So the approach of everything being constructed from the contract, and then other projects where the code that's used to create the art, it is stored and archived somewhere on the blockchain, but the NFTs themselves are actually pointing to images which are stored off-chain. Now, both approaches have their places, so this isn't sort of a one-upmanship. We just think that it's confusing when the same name is used in multiple ways. And we're really keen to make that distinction easier for everyone to understand. So that's step 1. And the second thing that this is going to unlock, and this is a cue for the Proof Collective holders, a few individuals in particular to get excited, you are finally going to be able to activate a special background for your birds. And this is going to be available as long as it's in the same wallet as a collective pass. And when the bird is sold or transferred, the background's going to change back to the original. So it's not going to impact anything long-term. It's not going to impact rarity or anything like that. It's just going to be a fun little flex that I know a few of you have been looking forward to for quite some time.
Something people are definitely going to ask, like right now, live in Discord as they're watching this, is like when exactly?
Background.
How long? What are you thinking?
Well, this isn't a trivial piece of work, and I'm not the one to do it. So if I commit to a date, I will be in quite a lot of trouble. But know that it is the primary focus for the smart contract team now that Grails is done. So hopefully
awesome.
Not too long.
Cool. Well, thanks, Harry. This is very exciting. It's cool to enter that rarefied space of like a truly in-chain, fully in-chain project, and making sure that this project is really fully decentralized and viewable for just generations to come, which is pretty epic. All right, Justin, let's talk about the future of Moonbirds.
Absolutely. So these last few months, as we've mentioned before, have been a totally wild ride. A lot has happened. And a community has really formed around Moonbirds in such a powerful way. We are really so grateful to have a collector base that is just chock full of initiative and creativity. And we've seen entrepreneurial drive and people rallying to do incredible things all around us. And they've done it already with the Moonbirds brand, which is really exciting. But now we really want to come and intentionally really put the effort and the energy to empower more to be done alongside all of you. We've seen people build thriving sub-communities within the Moonbirds larger community. They're called sub-parliaments. Some of them were trait-based originally. We had some interest-based ones that came up. Then we had some that were just like elective, like, hey, we're into board gaming and tabletop games, or, we're into learning about other collections. And so all of these grassroots movements have been incredible. We've seen teams launch like wild new projects from knitted Moonbirds. We saw custom gin, animations, 3D birds, daily newsletters from awesome writers, and even building entire websites dedicated to supporting the community with functionality and tools to help everybody. That is just simply incredible. It's astounding to see people building alongside of us. And it's something really, really special. So much so that we really want to be able to intentionally nurture that.
100% agree, Justin. And I think this goes back to this question that we asked ourselves internally, which is how do we grow the Moonbirds brand into a truly global household name, like a top 2 or top 3 PFP project? And we do this in a few different ways. First, internally here at Proof, we have to build out a business development team to focus on Moonbirds. This team will be tasked with creating partnerships with other large brands to create these cultural moments that further the Moonbird reach and exposure. And then second, a DAO that empowers all of you, the thousands of holders, to build creative Moonbird projects alongside us. And then to go along with that, dedicated Proof team members to help shepherd the DAO projects towards completion. We know that obviously a good idea and good intentions go a long way, but it's not always enough to take it all the way through to completion. So having some resources that you can rely on the Proof side will really help make sure those pass the finish line. And then also, we want Moonbirds and Proof to be known as a team that pushes the boundaries on what's possible. So that means coming up with new and innovative ways to help leverage blockchain technology. And lastly, we are planning for a slow, thoughtful expansion of the Moonbirds brand.
I know that that's a lot of information, so let's just jump right in and get into some of those details. Now, regarding the DAO, there are a lot of details being worked through, so you're going to see some updates from us before the year end, but here's some things that you can expect. The DAO will empower you to endorse incoming projects with trademark rights, meaning that they get to decide which projects can use that Moonbirds name. This is different from the art copyrights, which are already open to all via the CC0 decision. Now, secondly, the DAO is going to control a soon-to-be-formed treasury. This treasury is going to allow the DAO to deploy capital towards those Moonbirds-related projects or investments that further the Moonbirds mission. And that treasury is going to be bootstrapped with funding from Proof, and it's going to receive ongoing support through the Moonbirds' secondary royalties. Okay? That's a lot there. But we really do believe that the DAO is going to serve as our vehicle to empower the most creative within our own community. And that, to me, is huge. I cannot wait to see what happens with this. To build a big brand that makes a universal dent, you have to either have this massive marketing team or a big budget, and you got to remove, for us, it means removing the creative friction that's there. And to us, that's the decision with CC0 to empower grassroots community movements. And we believe that Proof, combined with an empowered community, is a team that will not be matched by any centralized organization. This is a big bet, but it is one we have a ton of conviction, all of our conviction around. And I am really, really excited to see what's going to happen in this space because of it. That said, I want to really emphasize and take a moment here to say this. We really, really, really strongly want to emphasize that the DAO is not Proof as product builders handing over all of our responsibility for creating cool new things for the community. This is something that we are very passionate about, which is continuing to be a group of builders that are delivering awesome things. You're going to hear more about that as we continue today's talk. We are still here. We are still building really compelling and exciting things for Proof for Moonbirds, including things which are experimental, which are fun, and they're attractive to those of you who want to participate. And it's not that everybody in this community has to say, well, I can only be here if I'm a builder. Some people are excited to see what's going to happen around them while other builders are doing things, and we think that's awesome. Some people are excited for us to build for them some cool products they can use. That's also awesome. We are here to empower that community to build alongside of us. I think you're going to see moments where we're building with them, where we're incorporating some of the things that they've built within the products that we're building and supporting that. To our last point through that thoughtful expansion of what it means to be able to do this, Kevin, I feels like now's the time that we get into that Moonbirds 2 thing.
Yeah, this has been the moment that I've been sitting on my hands, kind of like looking at all the great design work that you all have done and all these crazy ideas around these different mechanics. And it's time to talk about it.
Yeah, it's the hardest part is when your team is building and you're so excited to maybe just leak a little something.
Oh, dude, you have a glass of wine and you get on Discord. I want to start talking about all the crazy stuff we're building.
Yeah, that's called the K row. That's what that move's called.
Hey, you do it too. So don't act like I'm the only one.
We've done it together. It's
Yes,
true. It's
true.
very true. All right. Refocusing here. Let's set the stage. Let's get a little mental drum roll. Today, we are so stinking excited to announce the first official expansion to that Moonbirds collection that you know and love, Moonbirds Mythics. Now, a couple weeks back, you may have seen this graphic right here from the Oddities that was floated around social media for a little bit. This is the Oddities' subterranean home, these little tunnels which they burrow in search of food, treasure, or really anything odd. It's called the Burrows. Now, recently, they've been persuaded by the Moonbirds and maybe some other forces to search for some lost eggs. Now, 20,000 eggs to be exact, that have been buried and lost for centuries. Getting to do this, I got to pause and say this. Moonbirds, it was always really fun because I love doing the illustration. It was really fun to create a PFP collection, and Kevin and I kicked traits back and forth for like ever about, oh, they moved about this one and this one. And as we really started thinking about the ecosystem and all of these projects, a story had to happen. And it was one that we had like whiffs of like, oh, maybe a little bit of even in the original collection. And now getting the chance and the creative flexibility to be able to put these things together and for others to experience it through all kinds of different mediums, I think it's going to be really fun. Okay. Do you have anything you want to say on that, Kevin?
I'm waiting for with bated breath, your story here.
Okay. The good news is, let's bring you back up to the modern date. We are excited to officially announce that all 20,000 of those eggs have been discovered. It's unbelievable that it happened and that it happened in 2022, but here we are. They've been discovered and they've been recovered by our little good friends called the Oddities. Now, I know what you're thinking. What's going to happen with these eggs? As we all know, eggs need to be hatched, and that is a very, very fair point. They've been underground for a super long time. So there's a couple ways that an egg can hatch, and this will not be a biology lesson, but keep up here. One of the ways that you can hatch a mythic egg is through the collective warmth of the Moonbird nest and obviously a Moonbird booty. Each day on the Reveal Moonbird site, there's going to be a countdown. At exactly the same time, 25 new mythics will emerge from their eggs. Now, we don't know which eggs will hatch at any time, or specifically which Moonbird is going to be the one to be able to hatch them from the egg that they possessed. All we know is that the only thing you need to do is nest. So what that means is that each day, recipients of these mythics will be randomly selected from the nested Moonbirds. And the hatching is going to continue until all 20,000 eggs have hatched.
Yeah, this is to the point though about that slow, thoughtful expansion. Rather than just drop a brand new collection on OpenSea right now and have all these birds sitting out there, we're doing this nice and slow and measured.
That's right. I want to know what it looks like for regularly having people that are added to the community that you get to take the time and welcome, have them on board into this space, and really allow them to be a part of this community. Now, there's a big question that's looming here, obviously, which is, okay, so moonbirds are getting eggs, and all I have to do is nest my moonbird, and there's a possibility that I can hatch one of those 20,000 mystics. What about the oddities? Aren't they doing all the work? Aren't they down there burrowing, making holes, and doing all this crazy stuff in search of the eggs? And you're right, they are. And listen, the oddities know that. They are well aware that, but of course, the moonbirds are great for hatching. That's fine, but there's maybe got to be another way. The catch, of course, is that oddities don't nest. Everybody knows that. If you know anything about small pellet-like creatures that are animated by magic, everybody knows that. That's the only thing. Clearly, there has to be another way around this. And there is. They've found another way to be able to hatch a moonbird mythic. Deep in the depths of the burrows, you'll find a fire. We'll call it moonfire, if you will. Now, this moonfire only burns in one place in their world. That one special place is the hearth of the odd god. Now, when an egg enters that mystical, magical hearth of the odd god, the egg is able to hatch a mythic, which is beautiful. It's a really tremendous and sacred ceremony. However, there is a bit of a drawback in this moment. The first is that the eggs can't get into the hearth on their own. Obviously, they're mere eggs. They don't have legs. They can't walk into the hearth. They need to be carried in there by an oddity who's typically more than willing to do this, of course. But here's the deal. Sadly, this is not something that an oddity can survive. It's going to be burned in the process. But, I mean, in doing so, a mythic is going to come out of it, which, yes, I agree, it's giving your life to the greater good in a way as an oddity, and I think that can be a truly beautiful thing. Of course, it's a choice. As an oddity, you can decide, I'd love to carry an egg into the hearth of the odd god, thereby obliterating myself. Or you can choose, I want to remain an oddity, which is also a very noble path. They're both beautiful paths in their own right.
To be fair, I'm keeping my oddities. I'm not turning them over to the odd god. Just throwing that out there. I also have some epic ones, though. So yeah, I'm on Team Gremplin here, keeping my oddity, not going to burn, but I know some will.
There's some that I am 100% bound to, but I gotta experience what it's like to sacrifice my soul to the odd god. So I'm definitely going to do at least one. Here's the deal, though. That hearth isn't very big, and you can actually only fit specifically 25 eggs and oddities at the same time into that hearth where the moonfire is burning. Now, in order to hatch that new mythic, it's going to take 24 hours of sitting in the hearth of that odd god. Now, it's not, obviously 24 hours to obliterate the oddity. That's pretty much instant. Don't worry. It's largely painless except for the screams. However, you should know that that's a total of only 25 oddities that can be burned each day. So that's something you're going to need to keep in mind. Now,
so when we're talking about, just to get a little clarity here, when we're talking about total per day, then there's 25 that are being hatched from moonbirds, and then if there is the demand for it on the oddity side, 25 oddities will be burned. So a total of 50 entering into being hatched per day into the world.
I'm no mathematician, but that seems to pan out for me. Absolutely. Now, because nested moonbirds are selected at random, and we don't know how many oddities are going to be burned, we actually can't perfectly predict how many mythics each nested moonbird is going to receive. What we can say is that everybody has an equal shot. And importantly, because, these aren't the moonbirds or oddities' own eggs, here's a pretty cool little thing here. The chance of hatching a special or a rare mythic moonbird is equal for everyone. There's no inherited traits in this situation, which is quite exciting for whatever you hold. So it's a really, really fun mechanic. I'm really excited to see what comes out of it. But either way, the way that we are viewing this is very much a slow and steady, a very intentional expansion to that ecosystem. We're really looking forward to discovering this collection over time. And because they're all generated in advance, we'll know exactly which ones are going to be a part of this Mythics collection. We'll be able to let you know the rarity banding of your specific hatched Mythic as it mints so that you don't have to wait for the full collection to hatch to understand how it all fits together. We don't want you to be at a disadvantage if you got an early mythic and you didn't understand what it was or what it contained. So it's our goal to inform you as much as possible where this thing, what it's got and what it means for you.
Yeah. I got to say also, people should know that while you're fantastic at explaining the lore, we're going to have some additional graphics and other fun animated things to show off that will really bring to life kind of all this is out more so than just a presentation from us. So we're good storytellers, but not as good as some of our animators and some of the stuff you'll see coming asset wise from us.
Yeah, and this has been a great space for us to be able to flex and honestly to work with amazing people who are better at this than Kevin and I. And part of that's been expanding the team and working with incredible artists, incredible illustrators and storytellers. That this is a huge passion of theirs and ours as we've continued to build it.
Let's show some stuff. We've got to show some stuff, man. You're teasing too hard.
I'm teasing too hard, but I'm just trying to set the stage here and let you know what the creative process looks like, which is what you're going to see today is very much the sketches. It's the ideas. It doesn't mean this is the final execution. We're going to show you things today, and you might see something that's in full color and be like, well, this is it, right? This is the one that I'm going to get. And it's very possible. But just know that as we're building, you are getting a behind the scenes look at where we are in this process. I'm pleased to show you, but remember the context, remember the caveats as we go to show you these things, and know that things can change. I even tried to write on there, not final art.
No one's going to remember that, dude. This is what they are. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's just jump right in and let's look at some really fun stuff.
All right. Which one do we want to show off first?
All right. Tell me what you see right here at this bright colored. Well, in theory, it's a sketch, but what is the swirling magic around this specific one?
That's a chromie squiggle.
It might be. Who can truly know?
That is pretty awesome.
I love the idea of really thinking about, the mythics being these collectors of art and culture and creativity and bringing about this age of innovation and inspiration. And so what you're going to see in the mythics is very much a leaning into creativity as a medium to be experienced on these characters. They are big illuminaries and gurus of creativity, and it's a big part of the collection.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got some, you can imagine, we also think about some of the artwork that we can work with, both in terms of, artists that we know that we could get the tip of the hat saying, yes, this is cool, go riff, but also things like, some of the CC0 art that's also out there. How can we remash up some of that in some unique ways? So stay tuned on that front as well.
Yeah, we'll just flip through a few of these.
Yeah,
this some really fun ones.
This sleeping hoodie with the little lamb on top, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I love that little hoodie. The hoodie with the Z's is probably going to be its own meme at some point. How about this chalice with the little drunk eyes? Is that drunk? Or I don't know what that is.
I don't know. I mean, it could also just be like they're really mellowed out on grails. They love grails. Great collection.
Yeah, or there's a magic potion or something there that they consumed. But these sketches are so fantastic, right? There's these little just drawings that our team has done internally. Just to showcase like what's possible in this collection. The skull with the sword in the top of the head. I mean, this is a complete like badass one right here.
That's right. Yeah. We want to be able to lean into more like wild swings in the collection. And I think like I want people to be able to say like, if you like Moonbirds, that's amazing. But I love the idea of people seeing mythics and saying, ooh, this is really my vibe. Like I'd see something that I love in this and how wild it gets and how weird it gets. And yeah, this is like a strange look, but this feels like me. And I want to see those moments and that connection happen with our audience.
Let's show two more off that we didn't kind of going off script a little bit here. How about the one with the little Oddities shirt? Can we show that one?
Absolutely.
That one, that's got a cool little Oddities shirt. Oh, wasn't there one with the Oddities in the backpack?
Yeah. There's
that one make the cut or no?
There's a little backpack oddity for sure.
Yeah, the backpack oddity was great too. And then there was one more. Oh, the hero one with the little heart on the chest. Mm-hmm. There's the oddity in the backpack there. Yes, that's it. Okay.
Yeah, we had to reference our hero's outfit from the original Moonbirds collection. Yeah, of course.
So good. All right. Well, let's now again to your caveat earlier, Justin. Like these aren't final. These are sketches, and we have taken the liberty to go and colorize a few different directions, just to show you an example what these would look like in high fidelity if we went this way. And that doesn't mean we're going to go this way. We could always go pixel or otherwise, but like take a look at a couple of these here. Here's the clouds. Wow. Yep. That is stunning.
Yep.
I love that. The eyes with a little bit of like light flare and the moon above it.
what we really
amazing.
want to show with the mythics is, these are not just owls. There's something more mystical to their nature, and we want that to show as we build all of these and the construction of them. I don't know if it's going to end up being the full body. A lot of these we're doing full bodies because we want to have that flexibility as we're building them. But I think what you're going to see in the mythics collection is it's far more than just an owl.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the next one here with the little goggles on with the little, it's almost like an Egyptian type symbol at the very top.
Kind of like a mummy looking one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Very cool. Kind of wrapped up with the little moonbird around its neck. That one's sweet. Completely different direction though. Like that's to your point about a slightly different take and some things that we're still exploring. It looks different than the sketches. Isn't the full body.
That's right.
And then this last one here, I don't even know what this thing is. What is this?
I mean, so people don't know. Well, I'm sure a lot of people do know. There were masks in the original Moonbird collection that were originally a part of them, but as we were building it, it didn't feel like it fit all the things that were going on. And so masks have been one of those things that I've really wanted to bring back for a collection. Our fabulous illustrator Luke created a particular Moonbird here with this incredible mask, and Colin, one of our other illustrators, took it and brought it to full color. And the moment I saw the sketch, I was like, oh my God, it's so fun and wild and out there. And there's this like mystical nature of this culture that I don't fully understand of like what are these creatures? What are they doing? And those are all questions that we have a lot of answers to, but I love the idea of how creative the expression of these things can be. And this is really just to kind of show, yes, it's a bit of an extreme here. You can see the Moonbird behind that. Well, not the Moonbird exactly, but the bird, if you will, the mythical bird. But it is very much like, I don't know if we'll go that far when it comes to release, but I do know that bringing in that feeling of magic and a world maybe you don't fully understand, that is something that's really exciting and it's really compelling to me. I see that and it floors me. I mean, it's, inspired by, I think some of, our favorite, like the Miyazaki kind of stories there that just feel so magical, like you're swept up into another world. So this is just a tease at the things that we're building. We have a lot more, but ultimately, I think it felt really important to bring you all along the journey with us. It's a really important collection to us. It's being very intentionally created, and so it felt like a really awesome thing to bring you all along our work in progress and show you a little bit of the work.
I think intentionally created and thoughtful expansion about how we do this. And really taking our time to get it right and really nail the illustration. So it is going to take a little bit longer to create this collection of 20,000. Because of that, you can expect this to launch, I would say early next year is kind of where we're earmarking for that. So we're hard at work on it. We've got a ways to go, but it's very, very exciting.
And on that note, I will say the most fun thing about creating this has been that push of like, we're not trying to get this out in a month. It's not just like, let's do whatever's the fastest. We get to think through every single one of these, how to build for them. And if we go that high fidelity route, as we're like doing, which we know will be higher fidelity than Moonbirds, I'm not saying this will be the exact style. We're getting the time to really pressure test what this build cycle looks like, how to do this in collaboration as a group of artists together. And I think that you're going to hear a lot more about it as we go.
Yeah, and I think to our earlier point, though, what's important to emphasize here is that we have multiple lines of development going on at the same time. Now that we're, the team the size that we are today, so we're not taking our foot off the gas in terms of the initial Moonbirds collection at all. I mean, we're hiring those BD folks, doing those types of partnerships and collaborations, and continuing to expand and build out that brand, regardless of whether we've launched this Mythics collection yet. So, lots going on all at the same time. And obviously a lot to soak in here. So just as a recap, the Moonbirds Mythics are a 20,000 collection PFP launching early next year. Once the collection launches, if you have an oddity, you can burn it 1-for-1 for a Mythic. And although you can only burn 25 per day, if you put your oddity up and you'd say, I would like to burn this, or there's gonna be enough spots for every oddity to be burned. So it's not like you'll miss out. If you actually own an oddity and you want to have it burned, that'll be the case. Also, I think it's worth mentioning, we want to do something where if you have an oddity that you'd like to trade with someone else because you want You're going to burn it, but it's kind of a cool looking one. We're going to figure out some way that I know Harry's going to work on some type of system for people that want to do trades with each other so they can only burn the ones that they want to burn. Nesting your Moonbirds will make you eligible for the daily mythic hatching of the 25. This is going to be a really fun website. Like, I can't wait every day to show up at this website and watch for this live reveal to happen. It's just going to be a ton of fun. And this moment to kind of all celebrate and watch as 25 new birds hatch into existence. And 25, if they're up for burning, oddities get converted into these new mythics as well.
And just being able to peruse and be like, that's the one. I got to get that one.
Yeah.
And just seeing if it's available. Like, that just sounds so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously nesting your Moonbird will make you eligible for one of these 25. Odds are that over time, you'll receive at least one mythic, and some people will receive 2 or more. It is totally random. And just because you've received one, doesn't mean you won't receive another one. So every single day is a reset of that randomness, which is pretty exciting. And then lastly, there are no favorites here, meaning that oddities and Moonbirds, regardless of what they have today in terms of rarity, they all have an equal shot at the new rare mythics, which is very, very cool.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see this happen. And I can't wait to see the impact on the overall ecosystem. Not just obviously the joy of seeing new art is awesome. And it's going to be super fun and exciting, but also just welcoming new people into this community, into a thriving group of creators and innovators. And honestly, some of the kindest people I've met in this space. Like, I'm really, really excited.
Yeah, same. Awesome. Well, thank you for that preview, Justin. That was fantastic. All right, now let's talk about the products we're building to empower collectors and token-gated communities. This is obviously a project we've called codename Highrise. This will be the proof backbone and connective tissue for all that we do. Now, we mentioned at the Future Proof preview, our philosophy for building project really falls into 3 big buckets. We want to do it transparently. We want to do it in an iterative fashion, meaning we're not going to make you wait months and months for something, but rather get something out there, get you kicking the tires, and then continuing to update it. And then also with community providing input throughout the entire beta testing process. And so what that means for you is that rather than build this platform in secret, we're going to build it out in the open and bring you along for the ride. As long as you have one of our main proof tokens, it could be a Moonbird, an Oddity, a Proof Collective Pass, we'll let you in and let you start playing with this early. So I guess, for example, you can expect to see our products and design teams. They're going to be bouncing ideas off of you. And they're going to do this through Discord. They're going to host user feedback sessions. And they're also going to be doing things like sending out surveys so that we make sure we're collecting all of your feedback. Because collectively, you've already shown us you have some incredible ideas and insights. We want to make sure to leverage and get the most out of all of that. So that's how we're going to bring you into the process. But we haven't shown anything off. So today, we're going to take a little sneak peek. And Harry, I'd love to invite you back on stage to give us an early preview.
Yeah. So I'm going to start first by just reiterating what Project Highrise actually is. So it's a platform that digital collectors can call home. So it's going to be that unified, token-gated place for all things that are proof, all things that are Web3. So here, depending on what you hold, you'll find everything that's either been built by or built for proof. So that could be the research reports, the podcast that we put out. There could be DAO proposals in there, the nest where the mythics will hatch, the odd god's hearth where the oddities will perish a painful but very righteous death, to merchandise. And that could be from us or it could be from the DAO-funded projects. Now, this infrastructure will be at the very heart of proof. So it's kind of the city center, if you will, of our digital world. And this is the fun user side of things. There is also going to be a lot more going on behind the scenes. So, for example, if you want this to be usable, it's going to require really simple authentication. It's going to need a single proof identity. So, no one wants to dig out their hardware wallet multiple times a day. You're going to want to use your phones, but you don't want to do that in a way that means you're making compromises with your security. And, I think a lot of people here will spread their collection across multiple wallets, maybe even multiple chains. You should be able to link all of that together easily and get all of your benefits in one place without having to continually kind of log out, log in again. Now, this might not be the sort of sexiest, most exciting part of what we're building, but it is going to be super powerful. And it's just one example of the kind of core tech that we're building. And one thing that is really important to us is that in time, we hope that we'll be able to make a lot of this available for others to use as well. And that's all kind of in line with our goals to lift up and support the creators and the builders who are around us. And there's one thing, as Kevin has said, that I'm going to dive into a little bit deeper today. And this is going to be one of the first components that we're building. So I'm going to talk through a design mock-up we're working on, although kind of similar to what Justin said before, I'm going to stress that we're still really early in this process, and there's still going to be a lot of work going on just to make sure this really is as valuable and as fun as it can be. So let's jump into the heart of things, into a collector-curated gallery. And now, as a proof NFT holder, so that's starting with the collective, with the Moonbirds, with the Oddities, you're going to be eligible to create your own galleries, although they will be viewable and visible to anyone, whether or not they hold a proof pass. Now, this is a mock-up that we've put together from the collection of a certain Kevin Rose. Now, right now, this is all ETH mainnet stuff, because that's how we're going to launch. But the goal will be to support multiple chains so that you can mix and match in a single gallery. Now, if we look at this gallery itself, something that's really important to us is that we don't just want to be a place where you can show off your beautiful art. We want to do more than that. We want to be able to help you tell a story and to really curate what you're displaying. So in this example, Kevin has been a man of few written words, although he's recorded some audio commentary, which is probably not a surprise. So you're going to be able to hear what he loves about these pieces in his own dulcet tones. And if you've really enjoyed a gallery, if you've appreciated it, you can show that appreciation by signing the guest book. So the thinking here was that it would just be really cool to be able to check in one day and find out that an artist that you love, that you admire, maybe even that you've collected and shown off in your gallery, that they've stopped by and they've seen your work and they've really appreciated it. Now, if you're ready to move on, we're going to have a whole bunch of discovery mechanisms here to aid exploration. We don't want it to be one of those places where you kind of go, you enjoy a gallery, you get to the end and you're like, right, well, I'm done. And you close it and go back to sort of doom scrolling on Twitter. For example, we might have suggestions for galleries which contain similar artists or things from people that you're following. So for now, I'm going to click into one of these art pieces, and I'm going to go for a piece that an artist has really kindly given us permission to use in the mock-up. And this is going to be a pretend artist, which we're going to call Convergence. Now, on this art page, the idea here is we want it to be the best place that you could go to learn about a piece of art. So here we've got some commentary from the artist and from the curator. Here you can see Kevin's recorded another audio clip, although it looks like the artist hasn't here, so we've just got their written description. Now we've got a couple of bits of key information on the right, metadata tags, all those kind of standard things that you'd expect. Not as exciting, but you do need to include it if you want to get the full picture. Now underneath it starts to get more interesting again. And here we've got some really key content about the work. So here it looks like the collection was featured in Sotheby's. It's been talked about in 100 Proof, and it's also been featured in a deep dive report. Now, these latter two, they're obviously ones that we've created in Proof, but this isn't just going to be sort of a home to show off the things that Proof have done. The plan here is going to be to highlight great content from all over. So it should be a really good way for you to gather a range of perspectives. Next up, we've got some collection insights, some stats, some of the usual things you'd expect, and some information on the holders as well. So in this piece, it looks like Justin Rose has collected 11 pieces from this collection. Okay, so that's a bit on the collection, on the art. What about the artist? So the intent here is for us to create the ultimate artist profiles, and that's from the perspective of the artists themselves. So, for example, what we've got here is an idea for an announcements feed, and this would be somewhere where your interested collectors can subscribe to, because we know that one of the challenges that a lot of artists have at the moment is it's really hard to cut through the noise on Twitter, and collectors don't want to join hundreds of Discords. We've all got more than enough of those in our lives. And of course, while this, the intent here is to build something really for the artists, this is also going to be hugely valuable to the collectors. And the goal is that we want to make sure that you don't miss out on any important updates or drops from your favorite artists. And then again, we can do things like link through to all kinds of interesting content. This could be content that the artists are putting up themselves, their collections, that kind of thing. With the Grails, we've just seen some really cool making of videos, so they would look really cool up here. And just generally on this page, I'd say that anything and everything really is up for grabs. And it's going to be based on what the artists tell us that they want. And I think the intent here really is that, if we can get all the best artists using our platform, if you can do that, the collectors will follow. And then that's when we're going to get something that's really special.
Thank you, Harry. I'd love to actually pick your brain a little bit too on this as well. I love the new direction that we're taking here, in that, when we first started talking about this many months ago, we were kind of lumped into that same group of like, maybe this is a metaverse, and so many people out there are building these expansive 3D worlds, and they're going down that avenue. There's a lot of time and resources being spent on that, even from some very large, big Fortune 500 companies now we hear about every day. And it's like we're going back to our core here. We're cutting it back to real usable tools and insights that are for artists and collectors. And that's not to really say that we're throwing that all away, though, right? Like there still can be some really interesting ways to traverse this information.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, when you first started talking about a metaverse, the idea really was that it was going to be this traversable land that you could move around with your keystrokes and you could kind of explore. But the focus was always on being able to do interesting things and useful things within that land. So, we're not canning that idea completely. And we're definitely exploring a load of design concepts, which really stay true to this idea of it being a digital city and kind of all the different components being in kind of different buildings or different structures. But I think what we've realized is, if we're going to get value and if other people are going to get value out of this, we need to really focus on the content and get that right first.
Yes.
And then we can have fun with all of those design elements as well.
Yeah, that sounds right. Like it's almost in a sense you want to embrace the best design for the job, right? Like it's when you have a 3D world and yes, I get that for gaming environments, that's awesome, right? But that's not necessarily the best for what we want to do with the information that we want to present. But that's the cool thing about having a lab. So we can launch this stuff, try different iterative kind of ideas, and then just keep the good stuff.
Yeah. Is there a phrase that has made it across the Atlantic of all fur coat and no knickers? Okay.
No.
Justin has been making fun of things that I've said all week, mostly my weird pronunciations.
So do we want more fur coat or do we want more knickers?
Well, I think you want both. I think the idea is that you dress something out and it looks really fancy on the outside and there's not really much to it underneath.
Yeah, because you need knickers.
Yeah. So yeah, we're building the knickers.
I love that.
Awesome. Thank you, Harry. All right, let's get into the next piece of this, Justin, and that's about our core business. You ready to jump into this?
It's an exciting topic. I'm very passionate about it.
Yes. Okay. So we want to talk about Proof as a business. And obviously, we've told you this in the past. We have been very, very fortunate. We've, all of you have backed us in the early days, by purchasing Moonbirds and Proof Collective passes. A big thank you again for that. We've also had some great investors that we've brought on board to date. True Ventures has backed us. Alexis Ohanian's fund with 776. Fantastic partners there. But as you heard us mention, we're aiming to turn Proof into this global recognized brand with just a suite of great products. And we know that needs additional capital to build and support from just a deep bench of experts. So today we are beyond thrilled to announce that we've closed a new $50 million round of financing led by Andreessen Horowitz, also known as A16Z. And that is with participation from Derek from Collab Currency, Flamingo DAO, SV Angel, True Ventures, and 776 also coming back in. So this just brings a ton of experience to the table. They can help with everything from marketing, engineering and security teams, recruitment services, legal and regulatory teams, and just so much more. And I hope that you realize, as we do, this is just a great vote of confidence from some of the most respected investors in all of Web3. And it gives us the capital that we need to keep delivering great products and services as we mature this business over the long term. So I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, and if you haven't been a part of a fundraising round before, or maybe you have with a different experience, but for me, I think being so close to this experience, it really has been amazing to see how hands-on these groups have been. This wasn't a simple cut you a check and you walk away and that's kind of the last you're going to hear from them. Having now key folks that are really a part of what we're building and they care deeply. It's everything from, connections with hiring to thinking about the business, to bouncing ideas, to thinking about legal things. Like, it's been incredible to have these inroads to not just these investors, but also to their portfolios too, to meet others in the space, to be great citizens as we're building across Web3. And so for me to be, a part of all of this, it's been so cool personally, just to be able to level up and to grow as a team here. So it's really exciting.
To give people a sense of just the deep bench that even just Andreessen, not to mention all the other firms and their great teams, Andreessen, I believe, has a little over, it's either 400 or 500 people now, full-time people, that their job is to come in and help you when you need it. And quite frankly, just also to get out of the way when you don't need it. Like, the nice thing about this funding, and the thing I always worry about, I've been a venture capitalist for many years, backing just tons of companies over my career. And one of the things that I worry about for some entrepreneurs is when they stack the board against them, or they have a board that comes in, there's always this concern like, oh, the board of directors are going to push this company in new directions that I don't want to see it go. And that quite frankly, it can happen. The beautiful thing here is we didn't add any additional board seats here. No one else controls our company. We're still in complete control of our destiny. And it's just more fuel for the fire. And so it's very, very exciting. And to have just this, for me as an entrepreneur, this is a dream list of investors. Like there really is no higher tier in the world of who's who that can actually help you build great products than the list that we have involved. So I'm pumped that these people are on our team. It's awesome. All right. Okay. So Justin, are we done, or is there anything else
I guess we'll call it. That's probably
call it?
good as time as any. Yeah. I mean,
think
unless anything else you wanted to say.
I think we've got one last little announcement for the day, and then I can get back to resting and get rid of the rest of the COVID. But we do have one little thing to announce, and it's actually a pretty big thing. It's a pretty big thing, but it's one of those things where Justin's going to have to shut me down at some point because we're not allowed to say too much about it. But I want to get into this last announcement for the day. And today we can confirm we are working towards a proof token. And the name is still TBD. We don't actually have a name for it yet. But as you can imagine, designing and launching a token is both a technological lift and certainly a legal one as well. So we can't give you a ton of details at this time, but here is what we can say, and that is we are well aware the world doesn't need another token for speculation. So when we do something, it should be uniquely our own with real utility and something that we believe pushes what's possible in just new and exciting directions. Otherwise, why would we be doing it? There's just no reason at all. So we're excited that we'll have more to share in the coming months, but expect a much larger unveiling Q1 of 2023. And trust me when I say there is so much more I have to say on this topic.
Look,
but
cheese and potatoes, that's the safe
cheese
word
and potatoes.
I'm opting to use.
Okay.
To say this is it. We're cutting it off here.
Knickers and fur coats, whatever the words are that we can use today. I think those are the only ones we can legally say.
This is how we do the dance. Is Kevin gets excited and says something, and I hop in every now and then, and sometimes I don't, and then sometimes it works the other way around. So
that's right.
Whenever we got to use it.
So very, very excited for that future as well. Again, expect to hear a lot more detail in the coming months, but it's hard not to talk. It's hard not to talk. It's going to be good. All right. So big day, all kinds of announcements, some great art. Any final thoughts? Well, I guess first I certainly want to say, Justin, is always so good to be doing these with you. Also want to give a big thanks to Eli, to Sam, and obviously Harry. Such a pleasure to share the stage with you all today. But Justin, any closing thoughts?
I think I'm just basking in how exciting all of it is. We did this less than 6 months ago, and a team of 4 people, and here we are, like, getting to sit around with some of the most brilliant people I've ever worked with to date, who are passionate, amazing builders, incredible advocates for community and for people, and honestly, like, building the kind of company that, like, I am so damn proud to work with, and it's incredible. It's incredible to be a part of this community. It's amazing to get to build at this time in history. Like, I love where we're operating within, when it even comes to the bigger conversation around art. So I think I'm really, really happy. I don't know anything else to say except for hearing all these announcements. It's like, it's not just you and I anymore that are just doing something, and like,
yeah,
just us building alone up until 3 a.m.
like nights and weekends.
Yeah. It's not just us. We have an incredible team that have come and now it's their vision with us. And being able to paint that bigger picture, with these incredible minds and an amazing community next to us. Like, I can't wait to see what the future looks like in 6 months from here, even.
Yeah. It's so crazy how far we've even come in just a few months. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I got to say, I hope today's roadmap and funding announcement just gives you a little glimpse into this kind of future version of Proof. And that is, one that's certainly about this thoughtful expansion of our ecosystem, doubling down on our existing collections. That's so important right now. It's time to really double down on the people that we're serving today and the people that we're working with today. Empowering the creative community that's going to be made possible with the DAO and everything else that we're doing. And then, of course, building with art and artists at our core and keeping them always in mind with everything that we build, and creating all this amazing tooling that will first use for our own internal purposes for everything that we do at Proof, but then eventually expanding it out for all of Web3 and doing this for many, many more years to come. So, we're excited you're on this journey with us, and just forever grateful. Thank you so much. And let's go. Let's do this. We're off to the races.
Thank you.
See you all soon.